Torterra has always been the worst starter Pokemon from Generation 4. While Infernape and Empoleon are some of the most successful competitive starters ever, both OU ranked Pokemon in their debut game that have never dropped below UU beyond that, Torterra has unfortunately not had as much success. This Pokemon has consistently been ranked very low. In Gen 7, Torterra tragically did not even have enough usage to find a spot in the PU tier. A grass-ground type combination is terrible defensively, with a ×4 weakness to ice and weaknesses to fire, bug, and flying. Torterra seems to have been designed as a slow, bulky attacker, but it is outclassed in this role by many other ground types who either have less weaknesses or advantages in other areas. Torterra just doesn't really work. It has always had very little to offer over other ground types, and has been in need of some sort of buff or rework for a long time. And finally, in Gen 9, Torterra's dreams have come true. Torterra has received perhaps the most significant buffs of any returning Pokemon in Gen 9, and has gone from borderline unusable to actually good. Thanks to these buffs, Torterra might not be the worst of the Gen 4 starter trio anymore. Let's take a look at the newfound power of Torterra in Gen 9 competitive singles, and what it could offer to your team. Like this video and subscribe so that we can launch a nationwide manhunt to track down and imprison Rabska, who has been found guilty of various crimes against humanity. Thank you. Although Torterra's type combination is terrible defensively, it's actually quite good offensively. Grass and Ground Stab are really nice, but Torterra is way too slow to take advantage of this. In the past, Torterra has sometimes used Rock Polish as a way to boost its speed and act as an offensive threat, but now Torterra has received an even better option, and a perfect move to help take advantage of its offensive stab types, Shell Smash. This move raises a Pokemon's attack, special attack, and speed by 2 stages, at the cost of lowering both of its defenses by 1 stage. This is one of the most immediately powerful boosting moves in the game, and it has completely redefined the identity of certain Pokemon that receive it. Cloyster was once a bulky spike setter and rapid spinner, but as soon as it received Shell Smash in Gen 5, that changed, and it became an offensive sweeper and win condition. If you can find a single opportunity to safely use Shell Smash, that's often enough to clean up the entire enemy team. Although Torterra is slow, if you invest fully in speed EVs, you will reach a speed stat of 422 after using Shell Smash, which is a single point higher than Timid Dragapult, who has a max speed of 421. This is one of the most important speed benchmarks in Gen 9 OU, and if Torterra was just a little bit slower, it would be significantly worse. You can use an Adamant Nature to maximize your attack and still hit this important speed benchmark, which is perfect. Torterra not only received Shell Smash to massively enhance its offensive capabilities, it also received a great new attack, Headlong Rush. This is a ground type physical attack with 120 base power, and the drawback of lowering both defenses. I'm sure you're all familiar with this move thanks to the prevalence of Great Tusk. Torterra is one of the select few Pokemon with access to Headlong Rush in Gen 9, and it's a perfect fit on the Shell Smash set. The drawback of lowering both defensive stats is negligible. When you've boosted up your speed, you just want to try and outrun everything and deal as much damage as you can. Headlong Rush allows Torterra to deal that little bit of extra damage and KO Pokemon it otherwise may not have been able to. Woodhammer is a nice option for Grass Stab. The recoil is an unfortunate drawback, but the damage is often worth it. An alternative option for Grass Stab on Torterra is Bullet Seed, a multi-hit move that hits a random amount of times between 2 to 5. The new item Loaded Dice can be used on Torterra, which causes all multi-hit moves to hit at least 4 times. If you're after a consistent Grass Stab option without the recoil drawback of Woodhammer, this is a nice way to go. Loaded Dice also allows you to use Rock Blast as a coverage option, a rock-type multi-hit move. Like many other powerful boost sweepers, Torterra will get a lot of value out of Terastallization. Terastallizing Rock is nice on the Loaded Dice set to make you neutral to many incoming hits, while also enhancing the damage of Rock Blast. Terastallizing Fire and using Terra Blast also sounds particularly good. Becoming Fire type shields you from incoming Ice and Fire type attacks that would otherwise be super effective, and with Terra Blast Fire, you gain the classic Fire Grass coverage combo, which hits a wide array of targets. Fire coverage allows you to hit crucial enemies like Corviknight, Amoonguss, and Air Balloon Goldengo super effectively. This also shields you from getting burned, which is really useful against enemies like Rotom Wash and Skeledirge. Although Torterra does reach that important 422 speed benchmark after shell smashing, there will still be plenty of ways to outrun Torterra and revenge KO it. Landorus Therian can not only intimidate you to lower your attack, it can outrun you if it's using a choice scarf and do significant damage with U-turn. Torterra will often be a little bit damaged after spending a turn using Shell Smash, so it won't be difficult for Landorus Therian to finish you off. If you have -2 defense from using Shell Smash and Headlong Rush, U-turn has a high chance to one-hit KO Torterra outright, even if it's at full health. If you choose to Terrastallize Fire or Rock, Landorus Therian will be able to revenge KO you even more easily with a super effective Earthquake. Funnily enough, if Torterra uses a Jolly nature, it can reach a speed stat of 464 after Shell Smash, which is a single point higher than a max speed Choice Scarf Landorus Therian. This thing seems to have the perfect amount of speed to hit these important benchmarks. This could be worthwhile, but you are sacrificing a lot of damage output to hit this speed. Iron Valiant with a booster energy speed boost firmly outruns Torterra whether it's jolly or not, and can very easily finish it off if it's just a little bit chipped. Sandy Shocks with a booster energy speed boost can do the same, although they will need to spend their Terra to be able to hit you super effectively. Weavile and Mamoswine both have access to Ice Shard, which also greatly threatens Torterra. It's yet to be seen whether these two will be prominent in the OU metagame, but with Baxcalibur now banned, the role of physical attacking Ice type does need to be filled. They have decent advantages, and Weavile was buffed in the new DLC too, receiving knockoff once again. If these two end up rising in popularity, it could be bad for Torterra. It's hard to say whether Torterra will end up in OU or not, but we've seen Pokemon with Shell Smash that are ranked below OU, like Poltegeist and Cloyster, have their uses on OU Hyper Offense teams. Even if they aren't OU by usage, they have viable roles in the OU format on specific teams. Torterra is now a new option for Hyper Offense teams that stands out among the other Shell Smash users as a physical attacker with great offensive stab types. I think if you want to use Torterra in OU, you can definitely make it work. This Pokemon has a lot going for it, and this is probably the most significantly buffed Pokemon in Gen 9, which was well deserved. After more than 15 years of living in the shadow of its fellow Gen 4 starters, Torterra finally has something to offer. What do you think of Torterra's newfound success in Gen 9? Who's your favorite buffed Pokemon in this DLC, and what would you like me to talk about next? Let me know down below in the comments, and thank you for watching. I and my co-host Simeon are currently hosting a massive tournament for Gen 3 OU, my favorite Pokemon metagame of all time. We have more than 500 entrants and a prize pool of over $2,700. Check out my second channel, Jimothy Gaming, where me and fellow community members are uploading daily commentated sets from the tournament. Look at this Nidoking outplaying a Tyranitar, and this insane Celebi Rain team that actually did surprisingly well. Take a look, folks. You won't regret it. Thank you to the patrons for your continued support, and thank you as well to everyone who has donated to the prize pool for this tournament.
Whoa! KO by one hit! It scattered spikes!
The money got different.